Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have Rod Lee, and Rod is a local author and he is a journalist, and he has published a book, The Match. Now, if you're a golf enthusiast, especially, you're going to love it, okay? A lot of it is lost on me because I am a wimp. I haven't tried golf. I don't know if I went to, I'm the type who will stand there and look at them and wonder, where do you get the patience to push that ball around all day?
I know.
This says you got interested in it. I've earmarked a lot of pages. When you were a kid, tell us about that.
So I played all the sports under the earth for a long time, major sports, basketball, football, baseball. I didn't try golf until I was in my teens. So A friend of mine got me interested in the sport. I was hooked immediately.
What got you? What was it? It's not exciting.
It's such a challenging game.
Yeah.
You never master it.
Yeah.
And it's a solo game. You know, it's an individual sport.
Yeah.
It's not a team sport.
What, aren't you competing against maybe the guys with you to see how far you get the ball?
You are. But mostly you're competing against the course.
Oh.
That's the challenge. And every course is different. So you don't know what you're going to run into. And I've played hard courses, I've played easy courses. And the nice thing about golf is it's kind of literally taken me around and introduced me to a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Because you're always hooking up with different people in a foursome or whatever. And there's a social aspect to it, which is great. I've been in leagues. Mm-hmm. So, you know, when I worked at the Telegram, I played in a 9-hole league after work, which was great fun.
Wow. Where did you play?
Leicester Country Club, yeah. So it's a game that you can literally play until you're pretty old, you know, and that's another nice feature of it.
Do you have to be rich to play?
Well,
you got to have the bucks to join, right?
It's an expensive sport.
Yeah.
And more the case now than it ever used to be. Clubs are very expensive. Green fees are costly. Memberships in country clubs and golf clubs are expensive.
Why?
It's not cheap.
But it excludes maybe some of the kids, the millennials, like my kid, coming in, they're like, they can't afford it.
Right. So I've always wanted to write a book about my experience working at a country club back home in New York when I was 19 years old. And I had these people that I came into contact with who were so memorable to me, including the assistant professional who shows up as Al Flint in the book. And then the man at the driving range next door was a French Canadian, and he was kind of a mysterious character. And they had this little bit of friction between the club and the driving range, which I kind of conceptualized that it could be an all-out confrontation for control of that property, which the club, which was actually IBM Country Club. Yeah. So IBM was and I worked there for 1 year, and it was like any country club. It had the swimming pool and the gymnasium and the cafeteria and the pro shop and bowling alley, and across the street there were tennis courts and softball fields, and it was catering to all the IBM workers.
And you were still a kid, though, in your teens?
I was 19.
Yeah.
And so I just got this idea, why not develop this scenario where the club tries to take over this property, the driving range operator refuses to sell even as the price goes up. And then it all evolves into this this match. And I don't know whether I fully developed the theme as much as I wanted to, but then the end of the book, the last 6 or 7 chapters, as you may remember if you read it, is me introducing my grandson to the game of golf. And that, I thought, was when it really got good, because I kind of told him about the match and how that all transpired, what took place between these two guys. And
how old was he now? Tell the viewers, how old was your grandson?
Yeah, he just turned 20.
So he likes to golf?
And he had never played golf. No, he had never played the game. So I took him to a driving range, and we've actually been to a driving range a couple times, but he's never yet been on the golf course. He's still waiting to get out on the golf course. And he's left-handed, so which is unusual.
Is it harder for them to play golf?
It's not harder. It's just equipment-wise, it's harder to find left-handed clubs.
Yeah.
And
I didn't even know there was a difference.
Well, only in the extent that you're hitting from the opposite side. So,
Okay.
other than that, there's no. I mean, there are left-handed golfers on the professional tour who are very good. Phil Mickelson is a prime example.
Yeah.
Bubba Watson is another one. You wouldn't know that.
No, but Nicholson I've heard of.
Yeah, Mickelson. Yeah.
In Chapter 2, this is really great. Rod says, golf, I can attest, is both a cruel mistress and an unforgiving teacher.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. It's that bad, huh?
It's that bad. It's a love-hate relationship.
Really?
It absolutely is.
What
Because
does par mean? Par for the course. Par, what does that mean?
par is the score you're supposed to get on each hole. If
A
it's it could be a 4, it could be a 3, it could be a 5.
Does that mean how close the ball gets to the hole? Is that it?
No, it's your overall score for that distance getting it into the cup.
Okay.
So, and it varies from hole to hole depending on the length of the hole and the severity of it.
And it goes on for hours.
It can. Typically a round with 4 people would take about 4 hours.
4 hours.
Yeah.
What about your feet standing up and in the heat in the sun?
It's all part of it.
Yeah.
But again, that's what draws you to the
Only when you're
sport
done.
too. Is it's played in the sunshine and warm weather,
Right.
and I've played golf in all kinds of different
You've
conditions.
gone ahead. Yeah. Have you played the one in Westboro, opposite the Methodist Church? It's on Route 30. I can't think of the name of it.
It's
Oh.
Westboro Country Club.
Okay, yeah, all right, that's simple.
I've
Okay.
played there.
Yeah.
And I've played Indian Meadows, which I don't think it's Indian Meadows anymore. It used to be.
Is that
It's right on
Shrewsbury?
Route 9.
It's
No,
Shrews-
it's in Westboro.
It's in
It's
Westboro.
right on Route 9.
I went to dance over there one time.
Yeah.
It's
I have
pretty.
played courses all over the country. One thing I didn't get into in this book is a friend of mine and I, who left that club when we were 19, we took a trip to California and we played golf at a number of courses around on the way to California. We played in California too.
Is it kind of a different feeling out there than it is around here?
Yeah, in fact, in Florida, as you may expect, there are golf courses everywhere.
Yeah.
And I had an uncle who lived in Sebring when he retired, and he had a golf cart in his garage, and he would just drive around the corner to the golf course.
That reminds me of Shining Rock up here.
Mhm.
Some people could just go right out of there. The only
Home.
trouble is I heard that a couple balls barely missed a couple people in their cars.
I'm sure.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to do
That's
that.
pretty up in there, though. I haven't played Shining Rock. But
You haven't played in there.
it's very pretty.
And then there's one on Route 122 in Grafton.
Highfields.
Hi, because we're talking
Yeah.
with Rod Lee. Rod Lee is an author and a journalist. Some of you have probably read many of his articles in local papers. He is also the CEO of The Rambler, which is his newspaper, right? Online. I get it every month. And you go for the most different, I relate, he loves to go for the different people. You love to, how do you find them, or you just...
They come to me.
They come to you.
Well, I'm out and about so much with. I also write, as you know, for the Yankee Express out of
Yeah.
Webster, Blackstone Valley
Yeah,
Express.
yeah.
So I come across all kinds of people and all kinds of stories. In fact, one I just you'll be seeing in the January issue of the Rambler
Yeah.
is Leslie Riker. Do you know her from the Backdoor Vacuum Shop in Uxbridge?
It's January. I've already seen your article, haven't I?
No.
No, not yet. Okay, she used to be there, but there's something else there now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's no longer there, but she started the homeless shelter network in the Blackstone Valley.
She did?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that has really exploded. It's really taken off. So I've got her as my cover story.
Oh, I want
for
to read
January.
that,
Yeah.
definitely.
She's a remarkable woman, like you. She's done a lot with her life.
She's,
She-
yeah. I
she's-
remember that store. I remember going in and she'd fix my vacuum.
Yeah, my wife used to buy cleaning bags there. So she made quite a reputation for herself in the green cleaning community.
Yeah.
She's you should have her as a guest. She's
Oh,
a
yeah.
lecturer.
Yeah.
She's written articles for a whole bunch of publications.
Yeah.
But now she's doing this homeless thing, and she set up these 3 churches that our people can go to at
I
night
think
to-
that our United Parish, they participate in that right here in Upton. If you're from out of state, out of the country, Upton,
Well,
you know,
United
has-
Presbyterian in Whitensville is one of the anchor churches.
Yeah,
but
that's one of the anchors.
Yeah, she hasn't expanded beyond Northbridge yet, but
I know
done.
she does Upton. Somebody does, because they have
Someone
opened up
might,
their
yeah.
inside for that.
Yeah.
I was fascinated by the whole idea.
Yeah,
And then they're not going to be sort of homeless. It's like a traveling tribe.
right.
I love that idea.
Right. She's got a volunteer network of like over 100 people now who staff these churches
Yeah.
on the evenings that they're open for people to come in and stay.
And you've interviewed, like I say, quite a diversity of people.
Yeah.
Ramblers.
I get around.
Yeah, well, you do.
I'm a rambling man.
When the Rambler started about 2 years ago.
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
And you
I
had
have-
had a regular, and then you decided to go online.
Right. I didn't want the expense of printing anymore, but I have a good time with it.
Yeah.
It's just something I do mostly for my own satisfaction.
Yeah. How long did it take you to write the match about
well,
golfing?
About a year.
Yeah.
I had started one version of it and started over again, and then took a different approach to it and kind of got into it, and then decided to work Mikey, my grandson, into it because it seemed so apropos, where he was just trying to learn the game, and he seemed to really want to learn it. He was
Yeah.
into disc golf and frisbees, but he had never tried real golf. So I said, you got to try real golf, because once you do, I assured him, you will be, you'll want to play.
Well, I've done miniature golf, but that's not like the real
Not
deal.
the same thing.
No.
Not
If you're
the
good at miniature golf, is that a kind of a forerunner that you might do? No.
No,
Okay.
no,
All right.
not at all.
Why are there more men in golf than women?
I think mostly because it started as a male sport, and it's pretty much down through the years has continued that way. But there's more women than you might think involved,
Somebody told me that it evolved. It started in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm part Scot. I'm like, I never heard of that.
Oh yeah, that was the birthplace. Yeah,
I never knew that.
yeah.
My grandfather, none of the men in my family golf, but I would have assumed my grandfather would have told me about that.
It's funny, Jan, because golf has become a mainline sport now, and these players play for huge sums of money.
Yeah.
And I used to be really, when I was back home, I used to write a bowling column, and bowling is, 10-pin bowling is real big where I'm from, and there's like all these different bowling centers and everything, but bowling professionally never took off like golf did.
Yeah.
They never made the kind of money that golfers and tennis players make, but golfers make huge sums of
Why
money.
is that? Why do you think?
They have the sponsorship, they have the TV rights, and
Okay.
you tune in every weekend. There's a golf tournament somewhere. They started in Hawaii, as I point out in the book, and they
Yeah.
worked their way, through California, down through Florida.
Rod, how can they get a copy of the match?
The best way right now is to email me, rodlee.1963@gmail.com, and I had a certain limited number printed to begin with. It's not available online at the moment, but only because I went through a different publishing company than your friend Julian did with Amazon, which with my next book, I will probably go through Amazon, because everybody talks very big about Amazon.
Yeah, and I was telling Rod that this book, if he can get himself into the clubs, Julian got himself into his tennis club.
Mm-hmm.
Get yourself. There's so many around. This thing's going to go off like hotcakes.
I am planning to do that.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, especially because most of it is set back home where I'm from,
Yeah.
in the Triple Cities, Broome County area of New York, but part of it is set up here too, in this area.
Definitely.
So it would have appeal here.
Would you be able to give a presentation too with your book
Oh yeah,
signing?
oh yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
there you go.
yeah. Because if you go to Barnes and Noble or a bookstore and you pick up a book about golf, most of them are how-to books,
this is
instructional
not.
books.
This is
not.
This is a
This is a
story.
fictional story,
This
and
is-
I think it's quite different than anything else that you would encounter.
Who's responsible for your cool cover?
This is really cool. So this is a guy from Ohio. His name is Jared Forts, and someone recommended him to me. And when I first contacted him, he says, "Well, really, all I do is brochures and books for business type things like that." But I sent him a synopsis of what this is about, and he says, "Well, I'm kind of intrigued." So this was interesting because he took a couple of months to come up with 3 different concepts for me to look at.
Yeah.
And if you really study the cover, he's worked in the fact that there's a
Amusement park. In the back.
amusement park, which was what the club wanted to
Yeah.
acquire the land to build an amusement park and replace the driving range with it.
Yeah.
And then he's got these nice little touches where he put the golf club under the name of the book.
Yeah.
And he's got my name super
On a ball, right
on
on
a
the,
golf ball.
right on the
So-
tee. That's called a tee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the club coming off the cover a little bit. So it's kind of neat. I love it. He did a great job with that.
So you were pleased when you saw the final
very
deal.
pleased, very
Now,
pleased.
in the picture on the back is over at in Sutton. Is it in Sutton? That's
Pleasant
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 Valley.
Valley Country Club.
You took that picture, right?
No,
No?
they gave me that. That's that. I think it's the 17th hole with the covered bridge. It's a very scenic hole.
So it's a competitive sport, because I know that you mentioned here, again in Chapter 2, that you discovered how insensitive to common decency the game can be that year, could be that year.
Yeah.
Although I'd had a suspicion sometime before, after taking up the late sport, you felt competitive right off the bat, right? Those of us who aren't really competitive, maybe that's the key? I don't know.
Yeah, but like I said, with golf, more than I had played the major sports, and I had played in a team environment.
Yeah.
And you're together with 9 players or 5 players or 11 players or whatever, and you're kind of interdependent on each other. In golf, I remember the first time I think I mentioned it in the book. The first time I teed up, and there were it was early in the morning, and there were all these people, and my friend and I were on the tee,
Yeah.
and there were all these people watching me, and I felt so self-conscious.
Yeah.
And then I
Thought you're going to fail.
and I did. I had a terrible
Yeah.
shot, and it was a long time before I got any good at it.
You were nervous about it.
Very nervous,
Did you play with one or two of the guys, the other people, or just alone?
Initially, I just played with my brothers and with a friend of mine.
Did your father play golf?
No,
Nobody else?
no. In fact, the time that I took my dad and his brothers out to the golf course was like a comedy. It was like
They didn't like it?
They were all older. They were so funny. I mean, they were terrible.
Yeah.
And that was their only time they ever played golf.
That would probably be me.
Yeah.
I would probably be like Reggie Jansen.
Yeah.
I'd be like a baseball trying to get. I could do baseball pretty well, but I don't know if I have to pay. I think it takes a great deal on
Takes
your
a
part
lot
of
of
patience.
Takes a lot of
I
patience.
like it to be like that.
And like I say repeatedly in the book, golf is a game you never master. You never,
Yeah, you don't think you ever.
even
will.
the professionals never do.
They look like they are.
No, they go. They can go 1 week and shoot like a 65, which is like 5 or 6 under par.
Yeah.
And the next week they can shoot an 80. It's just there's no explaining it.
You know, have you mentioned the match on the Rambler, the newspaper you do online?
I have.
Okay.
And in the Yankee Express, Barbara has written some articles.
Even going to the libraries and giving presentations.
Mhm.
Awesome.
I've done that. I've done that with my other books.
Have you done that? Yeah. Okay. All right. But as soon as I thought, you know what, the you've got a smorgasbord of golf courses around here,
I do.
and all they have to do is see this and say, "Oh yeah,"
Oh, yeah.
and they get you scheduled.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, have you ever been to Tatnuck? Have you done that one?
Tatnick.
Over in Westboro.
No, I've been in there, but I haven't done a presentation there.
They
Yeah.
love authors.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've sent many of my authors over there.
Mhm.
They have a big room in the back.
Mhm.
You can give a presentation.
Mhm.
Some of the authors may be a little shy in the beginning, so they don't have to go in the room. They can go to a little table near the checkout counter and hello, and sign and everything.
Yeah.
But Julian Ayotte that we just had on, this one they had in Cranston, Rhode Island, even overwhelmed me.
Mm-hmm.
I went, oh my God. It was like 2 huge ballrooms, packed. There's 300 members of the Rhode Island Authors Club.
Really?
And they had about half of them there, if not more, and it was bumper to bumper. Which I didn't. Who gets a chance to talk with every single author?
Right.
Have you ever been to one of those?
Not that size, no.
No. He's got one coming up on February 16th in Cumberland, which will be smaller.
I heard you mention that.
Yeah. And your book is so different. I mean, it's going to stand out, yours and Julian's, because this is true stuff.
Yeah.
This is the true deal.
Yeah.
Fantasy's big right now, of course, thriller, mystery, but that the fantasy kind of sci-fi is really big.
It is
and,
big.
which is good for you guys because this stands right out.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
So where have you done your presentations recently?
I haven't yet.
Not yet.
I haven't yet, no.
No.
But I am going to get more copies printed, and I am
Yeah.
going to make some appearances.
Oh, definitely do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, let us know about that.
Yeah.
Is there another book coming up?
I'm working on a family story that
Yeah.
I've had in mind for quite a while.
Yeah. About your family?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
My wife, my 3 children, myself are moved to Massachusetts, and all of the chaos and drama that came out of that, which is more than anyone would ever imagine. And how we have survived, I have no idea. But anyway, I'm trying to fictionalize that at this point, okay, to protect everybody's identity.
Sure.
But I've taken a couple of stabs at starting it. Now I'm on a little different track with the first chapter, so I like where I'm going with it.
You do.
Yeah.
When did you move to Massachusetts?
1985.
Kids were
We've been
little
up here
then.
quite a while.
Right? They were little.
My oldest daughter was in high school, and the other two were in elementary school.
You still in Linwood?
Yes.
In the same place?
In the same place.
So they went through the Northbridge school system.
No,
No?
my two younger ones did. My oldest daughter went to North High in Worcester.
Oh, she
Because
did.
we initially lived in Worcester.
You
and
did.
then we moved down to the valley.
What part of Worcester were you in? I
Grafton
lived
Hill, Cohasset Street.
in- You know where Holy Cross is?
Yes.
I used to live near Holy Cross.
Okay.
About a year. Then we moved back to this area.
College Hill area. Like,
Oh yeah, boy! I used to think where I went to school, Plymouth State up in New Hampshire,
Mhm.
that's a party school. I didn't know it going in. I wish I had. I wouldn't have chosen it. I love the scenery, but I was
Aren't
not.
they all though?
Oh, it was. Well, Holy Cross was the kids were in our backyard. Did
Yeah.
Mommy and Daddy rent the 3-deckers for them?
Right.
Oh my God! It made
Yeah.
Plymouth look like Mary Poppins.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
And a lot of people up in that neighborhood have complained about that.
Oh, it was awful. I had the police there almost every night. My little son was trying to sleep.
Yeah.
These kids would be out there, and I'm not going to go into everything they were doing, but it was
Yeah.
absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
1, 2 a.m.
Yeah, I know.
Mommy and
And-
Daddy are paying for that apartment, and they'd wreck it.
And that's a good school. Holy
It
Cross.
is.
It's a very good
It's
school.
a very good school. I don't
Yeah.
understand the mentality of wrecking things,
Right.
going in and wrecking an apartment.
No, I don't either.
Sounds more like Animal House.
Yeah.
Where did you go to college, Ron?
Fredonia State.
Where is
Upstate
that?
New York.
Upstate New York. Is
Way
that
up.
what's the one? My brother.
Plattsburgh State.
No,
It's
my brother had looked into it. Bard.
Bard I've heard of.
Bard. Very, very, very funky college.
I've heard of it. Is that in New York City or?
No, it's
No.
New York State.
Okay.
There's another one up there in New York along the state.
Well, there's Cornell and
Is it one that starts with B?
Buffalo,
No.
Buffalo State, Buffalo University, Ithaca.
That's what I'm
Ithaca
thinking about,
College.
Ithaca. Because when I
Yeah.
was applying, we were trying to think, well, where would you like to apply? I fell in love with the Plymouth campus because it's in the White Mountains.
Sure.
Oh, isn't this wonderful? And I'd applied to 3 places. I was accepted the day I went on the interview, and boy, when I got there, my parents and I had no idea. My roommate was out. She could study the night before and ace the test. I tried that and got a D. I can't. For that, I couldn't do it. And she'd be out partying.
Yeah.
I don't get how they do it.
Yeah.
Or were you good at school?
I was an average student.
Yeah.
I was never a great student.
But I don't know. Trying to do it in one night, I don't really know. Now, there's not going to be a sequel to the match.
No, it's a one-time story.
Yeah, I think that, again, you've got...
I had a good time with it.
How long did it take you to write? About a year?
About a year.
About a year.
Yeah.
Your heart went into it, though, because it's something you really relate to big time.
Yeah. I have a cousin back home who had told me, because I was initially a sports writer before I got into news and the rest of it,
Yeah.
she said you should write a sports book. So when I finally decided to do something, I figured golf is as good a topic as anything. And
Definitely. The Match,
where-
that's a perfect title.
Yeah, the match, and because I worked at a club and I worked with some very interesting people who still are vivid to me in my memory.
Oh, definitely. In the spring of 1965, and that's where you began. That's where the man that, what was the name again of the man that was like a mentor to you in the beginning? Oh, what was his name? It's right here.
Oh, that was my cousin.
So you really looked up to
Yes,
Al Flint? Al Flint?
No, he was the assistant professional who was in the match,
Okay.
and Claude Rousseau was the driving range operator.
Yeah. So you get to know so many. That to me would be the drawing point, not the ball and getting that in the. Mine would be like the camaraderie. To me, the friendships. That's what
Absolutely.
would draw me in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd probably be lousy at this, but I might be great at having fun with people.
There's a lot of really entertaining stuff that happens on the golf course. So
All ages, right?
all ages, and I've played with people who have violent tempers, who throw clubs into the woods, and
Really?
oh yeah.
Are they
I mean,
sober or are they drunk?
No, well, they're mostly sober, but that's how the game gets to you. It gets so much ingrained in you, and you feel so vested in it that you want to do well.
Yeah.
And when you don't, I've done it myself. I've thrown clubs.
Really?
Yeah.
On a game?
Yeah.
I'd hate to see you at Monopoly.
Well, I am quite competitive, so.
Oh, on that,
That
I
would
am.
explain
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
yeah.
I take no prisoners. When I go by, I want to get this different property and stuff. But that, to me, is just a game. It's for fun. sometimes the person you're playing with doesn't take it fun at all. They're like, stop. You know?
Yeah, so my oldest granddaughter, Caitlin, and my grandson, Mikey, are very anxious to get out on the golf course. So this is
Yeah.
the year I'm going to get them out
You're
there.
going to get them. Where are you going to take them locally?
Probably the little college course near Nichols College in Dudley.
Okay.
That's a nice little 9-hole course. Somewhere like that, like a beginner course where they can...
Is there one in Webster, Rod?
Webster,
Sutton, I know, Pleasant Valley.
Pleasant Valley, and there's another one in Blackstone. Blackstone and Pleasant Valley are very near each other in Sutton.
I can see
But,
these on a bunch of them on stack, you know, right there on the main table as people walk into the clubhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just see these as going like this because
Yeah.
the people who like golf.
They do.
And a story like this,
Yeah.
also if they know Rod Lee, if you've lived around here quite a while, I mean, Rod is a great journalist. And not only is it for you if you love golf, but also you see Rod Lee. And this is not a fictitious novel at all. This is a real story of how
Thank you.
your experience getting into it. Your family, did they like it?
Yes,
They
they did.
did.
Yeah.
Did they edit it for you, or you have a friend who edits?
Yeah, I had a couple of family members look at it before it got published.
They did.
Yeah.
Well, you see the thing.
It's always a good idea.
Yeah, but I know. But you're a journalist. You're just going to get it right anyway,
I
right?
do, and I do a lot of self-editing. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I've done all my life, so I'm kind of used to it.
Well, we got about a minute left. Rod, again, how can people get a copy of the match?
Rodley.1963@gmail. It's also available at Book Lovers Gourmet in Webster.
Over in Webster, Book Lovers Gourmet. That
Yeah,
is a
nice little bookstore.
Yeah, Deb Horan runs that, and
Yeah.
she is the nicest person.
Yeah.
It's a cute
She's
store.
very good about promoting authors.
Yes, she is.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
She
artists.
makes sure that it gets in the paper.
Mhm.
I check that every Sunday to see who's coming up.
Right.
Tatnecker's good at it.
Right.
The only thing that bothers me is sometimes libraries, not all libraries, but when I work as a publicist, I make sure, are you going to get the word out here, or do you want,
Right.
I think, am I going to be doing this more?
Right.
I'll be speaking in Blackstone at their library about the memoir work that I do. And,
good.
yeah, thank you. And they are terrific. I mean, but God, she's already designed a sign. I've got my own, but that's okay.
Libraries are very good.
Yeah, they really are. Have you been to Whitensville Library yet?
Oh, yeah.
You've done
No,
that?
not for this, but I have been.
Oh, come on. Oh.
Yeah.
And Sutton, oh, for sure.
Mhm.
Sutton, the towns where you have, especially start
Mhm.
there, but you could go all over the country and sell this. You're sitting on a real, this is terrific, Rod.
Thank you.
Now, the Rambler, again, we want to talk about the Rambler before we close. That is his online newspaper. It's terrific, especially if you're local, you're going to love it. How do they get to you to get the Rambler?
Just email me at the same email, rodlee.1963@gmail, and I'll put them on my list.
Okay, that's Lee,
Yeah.
L-E-E.
Yeah.
Rod,
And-
did you change your name as a journalist? That's a beautiful name. We had a Chinese
No, that's
family.
my name.
We had a
That's my
Chinese
name.
family with the last name Lee.
Yeah, that's common. That's common.
Okay, I had never heard it before.
Yeah. But no, I enjoy doing the Rambler because I think I've kind of made a progression with the content and everything, the presentation and everything. So I think it's come along.
I love getting it in
And-
my email every month. I
Yeah.
think, well, what is he up to now? So I'm going to write down it. But they're local people.
Yeah.
It could be Worcester.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty much all Central Mass.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us, Rod.
Thank you. Thanks
and
for
let me
having
know
me.
about the next one.
Okay.
And keep that Rambler coming.
We stay in touch.
All right. We'll see you next time and be my guest.
Thank you, Jan.